Anyway, today, before we jump back into Persona 3 Reload, I figured I would take this quiz that's going around on Twitter. Shout out Cravant at @datcravant on Twitter. Very talented artist that I follow posted this and encouraged people to take the quiz for themselves. The quiz is, what is your major arcana social link? Pretty self-explanatory. So let's take the quiz. First question, there's 33 questions. It's also from 2014. There's some typos and a little bit of whatever, but we'll get into it. Which among these could you consider as your worst trait right now? We got a list of adjectives here. I think for me, I am a loner. I don't think it's my worst. I like being alone, but I think it's maybe to my own detriment sometimes. I like my own space. I like being alone so much that I will not see or talk to other people for months at a time, and I'm like, well, I don't need this social interaction. But other people need that social interaction for me because they like me and then they're my friends, and I'm like, so it is to my detriment. So I'm gonna pick a loner for question 1. Which among these could you consider as your best trait right now? My best trait? This one's harder. I don't know how to properly evaluate myself in a positive direction. My brain broken. I think I would say maybe versatile, reserved. I'm not sure. What do you guys think? I'm not gonna pick goal-oriented. I'm lazy as fuck. I'm so lazy that I don't believe in the concept of laziness. That's how lazy I am. So I'm gonna pick, I don't know. You did set a lot of goals this year though. That is true. I did set a lot of goals. So right now, it says right now. I think there's multiple that we could do. I think for right now, I think I might go with goal-oriented. Which of the following aspects are you good at? Not all of the above, but I'm okay at these. I'm gonna pick academics. That's the one I was best at. But I also did sports and music, but I'm gonna pick academics. Nobody goes on rants about niche bullshit like me without being halfway invested in their academia. Nobody goes on rants about the intricacies of the menu UX design and how that integrates with the visual prosperity of ingesting the girls love manga panels that I am reading at all times like me. So I'm gonna go with academia. Which of these achievements have you been aiming for lately? Personal achievements, things that make me a better person. Public achievements, things that make me acceptable or id comfortable. I'm gonna pick both personal and public. Like we said, I set a lot of goals for the year. I am finally, taking a step in the right direction for content creation. I'm gonna hit both. If you were to be given a special power right now, which one do you prefer? Oh, and then we have a whole list. Personally, I would pick all of the above. But if we want to know what my real superpower would be, I don't know if I've ever talked about this. I've thought about this a lot. Like, what if I suddenly woke up with superpowers and I got to choose the power? Which one would I choose? I would choose... There is a newly discovered hole in my sock. I'm just fingering right now. Hold on. If I could choose my very own superpower, I would pick omnilingualism. I would love to be able to talk to people in their native language. This would include things like programming languages. This would include things like sign languages and symbol sets and all those kinds of things. Because I think interacting with people in their own culture, appreciative of their own culture, is the best thing in the world. If I had all the time in the world, I would just be learning languages at all time. I love learning languages. I love language and its connection to culture. I would pick omnilingualism. That's not on the list. I think I would pick clairvoyance or healing support and knowledge. I think I'm gonna pick healing support and knowledge. I'm a bit of a pocket healer. I don't know. I like knowing things too. Which of the following parts of a movie do you find most interesting? The beginning? No. The rising action. I think the rising action is what really gets me. When you watch a movie, it's kind of like everything leading up to the climax. Once the climax happens, it's like aftercare to the ending. Everything leading up to the climax is the edging part. So I'm gonna pick rising action because that's the best part for me. How much impact does falling in love made into your life? That's a strangely worded sentence. No change. I don't think I've ever fallen in love in my life. We out here. Speed running life, any % solo runs. Which of the following best describes your opinion regarding the changes in your life lately? Wish things were how they used to be, don't like it now, having a hard time, changes or opportunities? Right now, I'm feeling pretty good right now, but I'm also the poorest I've ever been. I'm gonna say having a hard time, but I gotta cope sooner or later. At the moment, when you consider yourself a potential leader, I don't really want to lead anybody. Leave me alone. I have been in leadership roles in the past, and people do look to me in certain ways for leadership, but I'm just out here doing my thing. You can follow if you want, but to what extent do you pursue your goals in life? Don't have any specific goals. Well, we already know that I have specific goals. I remind myself of my goals every once in a while. I have lots of goals. Actually, no, this one's true. Now that I'm thinking about it, in the past, I have upheaved my life multiple times to pursue goals that may or may not have come true in the end. So I'm gonna pick that one. Strength. How do you interpret this word? Physical, intellectual, and emotional relationships, survival in the world. For me, the first thing that comes to mind when I think of strength is mental and emotional strength. I think there's a lot to be said for people who go through life. I think going through life in any capacity requires a certain amount of intellectual and emotional strength. I place a lot of importance on that type of strength, so I'm gonna pick that one. Right, when I say, oh, that person's strong, I'm not talking about how much fucking weight they can lift. You know what I mean? I'm talking about how much metaphysical weight they can handle from the weight of the world.
Hi, Ashes. Did you wake up?
My cat has arrived. Say hi to the stream, Ashes. She doesn't want to say hi. Career-wise, how sure are you that the career you chose in the past, have in mind right now, or plan to take in the future? Basically, how set I am on the streaming and the YouTube and the content creation. I'm 100% sure of it. I think I can do this. I'm delusional, and I'm gonna do my best. So I'm 100% sure, because if I wasn't, I would not have done it in the first place. Looking at oneself, regardless of what gender you were born with, what do you consider yourself right now? I wish there were more options for this one, but I consider myself the opposite of the gender I was born. Is the closest one. We got them they them pronouns. We got them they any. We got them she theys, depending on the day. You have lived life for many years. What is your opinion about fairness? This is a strange set of answers. I'm a bit of an anarchist at heart. Anarchy in the direction of reckless empathy. I think you should care about stuff, and I think you should care about other people, and that takes priority over any other kind of law. Rules are meant to be broken anyway. That's probably not what that answer means, but that's what my brain think when I think about that answer. How happy are you right now? I am not content with my life, or there are many things that I still want to achieve. I think that's true. I think a little bit of discomfort, a little bit of discontentness really emphasizes ambition and work ethic, because you know you haven't achieved what you want to achieve, or you know that you don't want to be where you're at right now. But instead of, right, there's a point where you're depressed, and that's bad. But if you're past that point and you're like, I need to make a change, then that change could be anything, and is every opportunity that's available to you to take steps to the right direction and head towards something, you know, maybe more ambitious, maybe something you would rather be doing, you know, changing a career or changing a relationship or moving somewhere far away or anything like that. And even little changes, you know, like changing your diet or something like that. So I think this is a good answer for me. I think I feel this way, and I think that if I stop feeling this way, I will not be successful in any capacity according to my own values. But maybe that's wrong. I don't know. But I'm gonna pick this one. I don't know if there's a right and wrong way to feel about that. How do you face your inner problems? Do not deal with them immediately, just stress. Deal with them after consulting with friends. I never do that. I always make my own. Unfortunately, I am independent to my own detriment. I think for a moment, but I can never let the day end without solving it. I think that's probably the best way that I can describe how I deal with my own internal struggle. I cannot move on until my brain has like processed everything. How do you balance your life? Focus only on important aspects that'll help me improve. Try to balance everything. In life there needs to be sacrifice. We cannot be a jack of all trades, or I do things randomly. None of these are true for me. I have schedules, but I also have ADHD, so keeping a schedule is impossible, and I have never had a routine in my life. The fact that we stream as regularly and as consistently at a similar time as we have been this year is insane to me. Maybe the closest thing to a routine that I've ever had. Also, I hyper-focus, so I will spend 12 hours doing something without eating, sleeping, just researching facts about something I've never experienced or something like that. So for now, I don't know what to answer for this. I'd say maybe focus on... This is probably the closest, but I don't agree with it. Balance is definitely needed. I just suck at it. I'm gonna pick I focus only on the important aspects that help me improve. Who do you want to be with right now the most? No, myself. Leave me alone. How do you most likely solve a relationship conflict? Give way to the other person, insist on what I think is right, consider all possible factors, let time heal. Unfortunately, I am a bit of a know-it-all. I very much stick to this moral whatever code that I have implanted in my brain. I speak up even when I shouldn't. I always stand up for myself and for other people. I'm gonna say I insist on what I think is right. It's the most autism answer. Which of the following responses would you do when you see a beggar? Give them food, talk to them, and try to ease their pain. Give them alms, money. Help them with what I can. Just giving money to homeless people on the streets? Sure, 100%. I've also given food to people and talked to people. I think both are fine, as long as you're showing some humanity and not fucking hurling nickels at people that are just trying to live their lives. Show some empathy, man. I'm gonna pick this one because it's the most like me because I'm broke, so but got handed the hanged man. Ooh. Think of a person you know who's made a big mistake lately. If you were to relive that day when they made that mistake, which of the following would you most likely do? Stop them immediately, just watch, it doesn't involve me. Talk to them about it once they realize what has been done, make it worse for them. Lessons need to be learned the hard way. The problem is, if I went back in time and I was there while they were making a mistake I knew they were making, I don't think it would change, right? Everybody's done this, where their friend is gonna do something stupid and you're like, hey, don't do this stupid thing, and then they do it anyway and you're like, see? Everybody has done that, which is basically the crux of this question, right? I'm the type of person that I'm always like, hey, this is what's gonna happen if you do this, and then I follow the logic chain or the emotional chain, and I'm like, this is probably how it's gonna go. So don't do that or do it, right? I'm not like the type of person to stop somebody from doing something. I'm just gonna say, hey, these are the consequences, do whatever you want. So I guess, like, I'll give a warning, but then what you do from there is your own life. I don't care what decisions you make, because those aren't my decisions. Stop them immediately or talk to them once it's done? I don't know which closer to what I just described. Definitely not this one or this one. I'm very bad at being a bystander, just because I think it's negligence in many cases. And I'm definitely not gonna make it worse for somebody unless they fucking wronged me. But I'm gonna say stop them immediately? I don't know. I guess that might be the closest. Who among these do you prioritize the most in your life? God, family, friends, special someone, myself? Probably, let's be real, I've already talked about this. I love my family and friends, but you gotta put yourself first sometimes. In your life, which kind of people have you often talked to and felt that you've grown or have learned a lot? Couples, single teens, kids, the elderly. Well, I've learned a lot from all of these. Like when you're a teenager, you learn how not to treat other people because of the way that other people are treating you. Kids teach you lessons all the time. Couples are like, they teach you about yourself. When you see them, you're like, man, fuck that couple. Or you're like, man, wish that was me. Or man, I don't need that. That seems cringe, right? So you learn a lot in those ways. But I will honestly say, I think I personally have learned a lot from the elderly the most. This is how I would describe my parents to like my friends. When I was growing up, I would say, my parents are old enough to be your parents' parents. Like my parents are old enough to be my friends' grandparents. So, and a lot of their friends were older than them. So I didn't have grandparents, but I grew up around a lot of fucking old people. And as an only child, the only people that I felt comfortable talking to, I've always felt comfortable talking to older people than people my own age. Actually, I've always felt more comfortable talking to kids or the elderly more than people that are my own age or similar. But my first job was at a bookstore. I worked there for 3 years. They were literally just Bunkichi and Mitsuko. So I'm gonna say the elderly. I've always gone along with the old people. They are curmudgeon-y and piss me off at all times. And I can't wait for many of them to die. But I've also met a lot of good old people that have shaped my entire being. It's probably why I'm like this, is because my whole life I've been surrounded by oldies as an only child. Because I'm pretty young. I'm not exactly the oldest person on the block, but in the terms of maturity, how do the people around see you? Mature person whom they can talk to at times of need, teen who loves freedom, approachable but not too knowledgeable. Okay, teen who loves freedom, maybe. Approachable but not knowledgeable? Untrue. I'm inapproachable, difficult to approach, the kid. In my real life, people, I was always the friend who was helping people with their problems. They would come to me and then I'd be like, I've never had this problem. And they'd be like, so help me out. And I'd be like, all right. You know what I mean? Like the coaches don't play or whatever the meme is. So I'm going to pick that one. If you were in a situation where two of your dearest friends are caught up in a mess and are about to be punished, which of the following would you most likely do? Take the blame for their safety, try to help them by talking, threaten the people, let them be. I would do all three of these top ones, depending on the situation. I would take the blame for their safety first. Well, first I would do this one, and if that didn't work, I would do this one, and then I'd threaten violence, and then I would commit violence. But then, if those two weren't options, I would take the blame for their safety. That would be my first instinct, would be to intervene, to push myself in between. How did you live your life after experiencing such trauma, basically? I'm a forgive but never forget kind of person. Like I'm not a vengeance driven person. I don't really care. I just like protect my peace and move on. I think it's already the past and I've learned my lesson. Do you find yourself saying things on others that would have been lectured into you by another person? Oh, it's basically saying, do you talk to, when you like quote unquote lecture people, are you saying that to them or are you saying it to yourself? I'm always saying it to myself, but also to them. Which of the following best describes how you socialize in these kinds of events? Celebrations, parties. Well, first of all, I probably wouldn't go to any of those things, but if I did find myself there, I would mingle, you know? I would much rather be in the corner playing with the cat, and I have been in the corner playing with the cat, not talking to anybody. But I'm not very sociable. I'm, in fact, antisocial in some ways. But if I did find myself at an event, that's the time to be socializing. So I would be talking to people. If you somehow got me out of my hidey hole, my hikikomori den, and brought me to an event, then I would do my best to at least participate a little bit. But if I wasn't having fun, I would just go home or play with a cat if there's a cat there. Which of the following best describes how do you most likely to respond to someone who has done something for you? I would just say thanks, I think. We don't need to make a big deal about favors or anything. We don't need to do like, I don't know. I always do stuff for other people just because, and I never expect that kind of behavior in return. So when people do stuff for me, I'm like, okay, thanks. That's really nice. Because if you put too much emphasis on it, then you go crazy and you're like, oh my God, then it almost is like condescending in a way. It's almost like, wow, you never do anything for me, so thanks for doing it this time kind of feeling. Even when it's not really like that, but sometimes it feels like that. And in the other direction, if you don't acknowledge it at all, then you're like, what the hell? For me, I'm like, I would appreciate whatever's been done and then move on. Like, we don't need to dwell on it unless it's something insane. The world is big and each place has its own customs, traditions, and way of living. What is your opinion of cultural differences? I try not to discriminate others. I feel, right? Like, I don't know. Yeah. I'm not trying to discriminate. I'm trying to learn and appreciate, all right? So we picked that one. You have answered a lot of questions so far. How truthful did you answer the questions? As truthful as I possibly could. Not confident. Wasn't truthful. What do you guys think? Am I lying? I could be. Nobody would ever know. I'm gonna say as truthful as I possibly could have done. Among these choices, which best describes how you see and respond to the events in your life? Abyss, competition, destiny, paradox, karma. Ooh, hold on, let me read these. Abyss. My miseries are caused by those who want to bring me down? Nah. All of my broken brain has been caused by my own broken brain. I am my brain is I'm not my worst. I am not my own worst enemy. My brain is my worst enemy. Fuck that bitch. Competition. Life is all about survival of the fittest. No, that's dumb. Destiny. Everything happens for a reason. Paradox. I take full responsibility of my actions. Well, yes. Karma. Everything that happens has an equal and fair reaction. The anti-capitalist in you caused Abyss. Well, yeah, that is true. You're so... When you phrase it like that, Trashcan, you really just said society. I'm gonna say karma. I don't necessarily believe in karma, but I think the energy that you give other people, not the universe or whatever, but if you treat people with kindness, they're gonna treat you in kind. If you treat people like shit, you're gonna get your ass beat. So I'm gonna pick karma. This is the last assessment. After taking the time to answer all the questions, which of the following is the closest unto how you could describe your understanding of your own self right now? More confused than before. Think I understand myself better now. I'm just glad I finished answering. I don't understand myself better now. This is just the kind of stuff I think about at all times. And I'm not very confused. So I guess I'm just glad I finished answering. It seems callous. It's not really true. I'm excited to see the answer, but I guess this is the best I'm gonna get. So I'm gonna pick this one. The Fortune. Is it because I look like Keisuke? This is fucked up. The Arcana is the means by which all is revealed. Alongside time exists fate, the bearer of cruelty. The Fortune Arcana symbolizes fate and varying luck, fortunes, and opportunities. What goes up will go down, what goes down will go up. You are aware of your fate and attempt to seize your own destiny in spite of your seemingly locked fate. Thus, you are typically involved with making important choices and decisions. You have successfully revealed your major arcana. What do you guys think? You think the Fortune is fitting for me? I think that sums me up pretty good. I think I've said something close to this pretty much verbatim, so I'm okay with the Fortune. I like the Fortune. Can I see the other ones? Oh, I was almost the Moon. Whoa, I was pretty close. Let me look at these. Most people are the Priestess. That's crazy. Not a lot of people are the Fortune, comparatively. Or the Hanged Man. Damn. I was almost the Moon. I was 2 questions away from being the Moon. The Moon Arcana is associated with creativity, inspiration, dreams, madness, illusions, fear, fantasy, the subconscious, and trickery. You are sometimes being attuned subconsciously to the world around, gaining the ability to sense things without being told about them or without anyone else knowing. This is just autism. You are often physically attuned, and your projection of your own fears and faults on others is becoming a habit. You often tend to have trouble accepting yourself for who you are, and because of that fear, you try to correspond to an ideal person. This one really fits me. That one really fits me. Only 700 people got death, which means they are changing their life up phenomenally. I feel like I could do a whole Northern Lion-esque stream where I just take these quizzes. I feel like that would be fun. Not today, though. We gotta play Persona 3. That was fun. I'm okay with the Fortune, I think. Yeah, I think this is pretty indicative. I'm not upset about this. I think this is true. I think this one and the Moon, which are my top 2, very much true. That was fun. Let's get the game going.